Well, good morning, everybody. It's me, Mitch. Today, I'm in the mood for another one of those frittatas that I made. And I already made a video on this, but I have made some changes. I've been talking about them. Things I do a little differently, a little change in the ingredients. And since I am yearning for one of these things, I'm going to just let you follow me around while I cook it again, and I'll tell you about what I'm doing differently. So, what we're going to do, we're going to have bacon, eggs, and ground beef. And I'm going to get my splatter screen out. Going to need that. Going to need a cutting board. Last time I used 2 strips of bacon. Then I made it again. I used 3 strips of bacon. And considering one of the rules to live by, today I'm going to use 4 strips of bacon, which is at least a half a pound of bacon. And I'm going to cut it up. Much finer than I did the first time that I made this, into much smaller little pieces. And bunch this all up. And this is a little tricky because bacon wants to do its thing when you cut it, so just get it as maybe less than half-inch pieces, I think, would be adequate. So, once we get the bacon cut up, I've got the frying pan heating to medium-high, and the whole idea of using more bacon in this mix today is that this ground beef that I'm using, which is the organic grass-fed from Sam's Club, has 85% fat. 85% lean. That'd be great hamburger, 85% fat. Has 85 and 15% fat, and that's not enough fat. I like the taste of that hamburger, but you got to add some fat to it. You got to get it up to 25-30%. So there's the fat, and that's one of the reasons, besides you can't have too much bacon, why I'm putting more bacon in there, and that fat will render out. And one thing about cooking this frittata is every last ounce of the fat will end up in the final dish. When I pull it out of the pan at the end, the pan will be fairly dry. Now this dish is going to net us out 2 big meals or 3 adequate meals, depending on how much you eat. If you're a big guy, you might eat the whole thing. I tried the first time, and I managed to get through 3/4 of it, but I was pushing it at the end. So the second time I made this dish for myself, and I find I'm making it about once a week. I really like it. It's becoming one of my favorite dishes. It's got ground beef, it's got bacon, it's got eggs in it, and I'm not a cheese person, but boy, if you're a cheese person, you could, when this is done, just sprinkle some good cheddar or some other hard cheese on top, shred it up, and like I say, if you really like cheese, this would be a perfect dish for it. But that's just not for me. Now these are fairly good size eggs too. I can feel by the weight of them and the size of the yolks that they're kind of what would be considered, I would imagine, extra large. We're going to take 6 of these, which is going to be a lot of egg, but we're going to end up with a frittata that's more, maybe 5/8 of an inch or more thick. And I'm going to cook it a little differently as well. In fact, that I'm not going to flip it. I'm going to cook it for longer at a lower heat and just let it almost bake in the frying pan. I did that the last time and I really liked it better. So let's flip our bacon and let's get the one that escaped back in the pan. There you go. And let this render out. Now, a lot of people think that I should take the little Redmond's real salt, that I should actually take the bacon out, put it aside, and add it back in after the hamburger's cooked. But what I do is not completely cook the bacon, but I cook it until it's almost done. And then I put the ground beef in, kind of shovel the bacon over to the side. You'll see how I do it. And then I put the ground beef in the pan, chop it up. I don't add any additional salt. There is salt. Of course, the bacon is somewhat salty, and I put salt in the eggs. And I always feel that you can add salt but you can't take it away. So if it needs a little dash of salt at the end, so be it. Now, you'll have to excuse me while I beat my eggs. Thank you. And that, my friends, is a lot of egg. According to the measuring cup here, it is 12 ounces. 12 ounces of egg. Today, I'm wearing my brisketarian t-shirt. And it says, because brisket never disappoints. And that's true. So now I've got a lot of great fat in here to add to the hamburger. I'm going to take this bacon at this point. I'm just going to shovel it over out of the way. And one of the reasons that I want to leave the bacon in the pan while I cook the beef is I want that bacon flavor to get in with the beef. Now at this point I'm going to turn the heat down to just a little bit above medium. Just a little bit above medium. And I'm going to start chopping up my ground beef. in the pan here. And still trying to keep it, at this point, segregated from the bacon until, and the whole purpose or objective at this point is to cook the ground beef, to brown the ground beef, and let the water come out of it. Now, I could use the splash guard, but that splash guard or anything, or a lid, tends to keep the steam in the frying pan, and I want the steam to escape. I want that liquid to boil itself out. So we'll continue to keep chopping this up real good. If some of the bacon gets mixed in with it, it's no big deal. This is a relatively easy meal to make, considering the amount of food that you end up netting out of it. And the leftovers are going to be good for at least one more meal. And again, if you don't eat this volume of food, you might get 3 meals out of this. Me, I get 2 meals out of it. But we're gonna let this simmer now on a little lower heat, and let that water cook off. So we're ready. Going to let my bacon continue to cook over there on the side. Let the moisture cook off from the beef. Take this brief moment while I'm waiting for a shameless plug about my Amazon links that I have on my website. I have a kitchen full of gadgets here. Many of you have asked me where I get them. I put a page on my website at oldguycarnivore.com called Links to the Stuff That I Use, and all of this stuff, from the frying pans to the splash guard to the appliances, air fryers, to the supplements, to the pantry items, the salt, even the cameras that I use, because I get so many questions on those, and the exercise equipment that I use. Pretty much everything that I've bought with my money for my use to enable me to do carnivore the way I do it and the way I present it to you. So I appreciate it, and it helps support the channel. Helps me buy more gadgets to show you. If you, when you need to buy something from Amazon, or you want to buy some of the things that I use, you go through my links, and it really helps me out. So that was my shameless plug. Thank you for putting up with that. What I'm going to use this for, and you'll see after I put the egg in, I'm going to put this on top and turn the temperature down even more. And that's where it's going to sit for a while. And it's going to sit as long as it sits until the top of it is not liquid egg anymore, but has firmed up. And at that point, the bottom of this whole thing will be crispy. The top will be more like quiche maybe, and it'll be done. And we'll fast forward through those once I get to that step. Meanwhile, I'm still waiting for that liquid to be gone, and it is getting there. So right now, I wish I had a drum roll. I am going to start to mix all this up. Let me start with the spatula and start to mix the bacon in with the eggs. You can still see that there's plenty of bacon grease in the bottom. It is being soaked up by the burger. But now we're going to start flipping it like this to get the stuff that was on the bottom around to the top. Hopefully not too much of it escapes. Stuff wants to get out, but I'm still on medium heat. I'm going to pour the egg evenly over the whole thing. Perfect. Perfect. I'm going to make sure the egg is distributed nice and evenly. And get the edges down in there. And now I'm going to put this on top because that'll hold some of the heat in. And we're going to let it cook, and I'm going to time it. Not going to make you sit through it, but I'm going to time it. And I'll be back as this thing starts to firm up and tell you how long I cooked it on medium heat. So as not to burn the bottom of the egg too badly, but firm up the top. All right, it's been cooking for 5 minutes now since I covered it up. Let's take a look and see what it looks like. It's starting to firm up nicely, but it's got a little ways to go. So we'll give it some more time, a few more minutes, and we'll see when the whole thing has solidified. Okay, it's been almost 10 minutes since I covered it up. And it's pretty much done. I'm going to leave it, give it another minute before we take it out. Put it on the cutting board, let it cool for a little while. But oh, it looks great. So let's give it another minute or so.
A few moments later.
It is done. No flipping. I am going to take it and put it on this cutting board, kind of like a pizza. Look at that. Look at that. Oh man, how exciting is that? Look at that. Let me take you over here and let you see this. Look how thick that thing is. Holy cow. Look at that. And let's take a look at the bottom side of it and see what that looks like. Hard to see, but not burnt, but crispy. It looks great. God, I'm so proud of myself. It is a thing of beauty. And to commemorate this thing of beauty, before I do anything, I'm going to take a picture of it. Look at that. Wow. Wow. And I'm going to take a close-up. That looks great. And I'm going to let it firm up for just a minute. And then I'm going to cut a quarter of it and see what it looks like. Oh man, look at that. I realize that there are a lot more exciting things in life than this, but I love it when, how they used to say it, I love it when a plan comes together. Look at that. And let's set it up to pose it for a picture. Let's pose it like that. Oh man, look at that. And let's, bacon. Oh, wow, perfect. Let's take a picture of that. Oh man, that's a thumbnail right there. Well, thanks for bearing with me during the photography session of this. Now we come to the tasting. And this is the part where you eat your hearts out and wish you had just made this thing, because it looks fabulous. It is perfectly cooked. Shiny with the fat on it. And let's try it. Look at the bottom. Oh my God, look at the bottom. It is crispy. Mmm. Mmm. Oh, baby, you've got to make this. You have got to make this. This is without a doubt the best one of these I've made so far. I can't see how I could improve on it any more than this. This is it. This is my final recipe. I don't want to do anything different every time I make this from here on out. It is a treat, a real treat. I hope you've enjoyed watching me make this. I used the Mueller 12-inch frying pan and the screen. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Again, 6 eggs, 1 pound of ground beef, and about a half a pound of bacon, chopped up relatively fine. Cook it like I showed you. It's a no-brainer of a recipe, and it came out fabulous. So before it gets cold, I'm going to eat half of this and put half of it away, and I'll have it tomorrow. You take the rest of the day off and eat meat.